And so females are bombarded with androgynous scumbags from one angle and vacuous whores another angle, piss-poor role models telling them, you don't need a man, girl, you just need to give me millions of pounds for this shit song. Doom, 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 doom. Right? And basically, the females behind those songs, which I'll cover in Erol On Music, live with millionaire men who would fuck and batter fuck out of them if she got out of line for 1 second. Right? And she lives with him quite happily, wouldn't say boo to him, but she tells you, you don't need a fucking man, and you live in a glorified council estate, you've got 5 different coloured kids, and you're taught since infancy to hate men. Taught, however your pathology is going to ingrain itself, it must be to hate men. And so unsurprisingly, females from council estates hate men. But that's the fucking solution! Right? Hairy-assed females, if they would stop pretending to blame innocent fucking common men, i.e. psychopaths, right? Going all the way back to when they took up the arse behind the bike shed. And I've still never got over it. I've still never got over it. Right? If they just get over it and take it out on those I'm saying are to blame. Right? Think about that, me saying that someone is to blame other than you, right? The house of paedophiles, right? They appear in public all the time, they can't fucking believe. Only need to show up with 1 or 2 pigs, right? And they feel safe just walking about because you're so fucking dumbed down. Come on, right? If you're a hairy-arsed woman, you're fucking sitting in the house raging. Don't take their Zionist-infected fucking brain-rotting fucking drugs, which fuck it your brain up even more. And every fucking test whatsoever at all, they're specifically to fucking make you worse. Like chemotherapy's meant to kill you, right? There are so many natural things which can help you recover from any kind of disorder. The whole medical profession is awash with corrupt, hell-bent psychopaths who took me a long time to realise, that due to them just being feeling-based creatures, they're incontinent. So, lacking self-awareness, the lunatic seeks you to try and leave its shit with you. It believes it can transfer shite from the sewer works below Narnia, where it's sitting on its toilet throne, rooted and raging, right? And transfer its shit into reality and into leaving it with you by damaging the nerves in your prefrontal cortex by relying on you, having calculated that you'll suppress your right to kick fuck out of them, right? Don't suppress your right. Now, you can be non-reactionary as I am, I'm excellent at not personalising the performance of a retard, proving the need shot. However, I'm of the mind now that they must be shot. So I will choose to react, and if I can't, that would really stay with me a long time. So I have to live on a mountain. At the moment I'm living in a forest. And because I don't want to meet another person for as long as I live, because I'm at the stage now where I'll just shoot you in the fucking face and you're just a broken branch that falls to the ground. I don't give a fuck about you, I'll not even bury you. And if I did bury you though, I'd be whistling and I'd stop to eat sandwiches and maybe, listen to some Jimi Hendrix or something. So, in a nutcake, right, the hairy-arsed women from the glorified council estates of the world, stop being aggressive towards innocent men you're in competition with, right? Just try it. Get a couple of steak knives, right? Grow your arse fur and go to where the paedophiles are, right? Make sure you're getting the right one and stab them to death, right? When you get home again, you'll feel a great weight has been lifted because you're emotionally incontinent anyway. And that's how your MO is. It took me a long time to work it out, right? The covert or the overt abuser believes it's leaving its shit with you. It feels it's detoxing it. It skips off later after having, preyed on the nerves in your prefrontal cortex, where you're suppressing what your ancestors would have done. Your ancestors would have fucking battered fuck out the cunt, yeah? I'm all for really beating the shit out of females, all for it, and I'm a living Christ. Cunnilingus! No, I'm not even a big fan of fellatio. I don't even know the guy. Here's the thing, right? Right, here's the thing, right? Oh no, this again. Here's the thing, right? What's going on here? If I did that in a bucket of milk, I could have, yogurt, cheese or butter by the end of the show. But not margarine, it's the devil's spunk. Yeah, it's just toxic sludge, as I covered in a different video. Point is this, right? Right, here's the thing, right? So hairy-arsed women are the fucking solution. I'll tell you why, because in denial talks, they've shut all the fucking asylums, right? Told females, on you go and kill as many men as possible, basically ingrained that into their brain, and shut the only all-female prison, wait for it, and declared killing men's no longer a fucking crime. It'll be dealt with in the community as phase 2 of care in the community. So they shut the asylums, right? So then these females who are incontinent, who get sexual pleasure, wired back to front, channeling immorality into their life, right? But they temporarily get off on killing men, famous, countless examples of them I'll give you in Erol on serial killers. And what they do is, right, they then shut the only all-female prison, so there's no asylum for them, there's no prison cell for them, and they've declared that these fucking pygmy retards, these inbred fucking midgets, right, whom paedophiles are rubbing their fucking plums laughing about. You've got these tiny, minuscule fucking reptiles who are the only people despicable enough to actually act out being somebody in Scottish Parliament, which I'm blowing up in one of my videos. And the song that I've done a pastiche on called Kill. In the Nutcake, they have decreed that female crime is no longer a crime. Right? It's any lack of insight there that St. Bram Stoker would have told you about. So, go to where they are and fucking kill them. It's not a crime. You'll get a get out of jail free card. I have this on great authority and great insight and experience. Right? You'll get a get out of jail free card and continue with your killing spree. Right? You are the solution. Think about it. They've wanted you to feel power, empowered, right? And power is self-destruction amongst others. So what did they bring out? Homosexuals, remember, homosexual psychopaths are behind all production of music, right? They love it, big fat dirty bleeding arse squashing generations of Bob Dylans and John Lennons, saves them shooting them, and Bob Marley's and giving you utter shit, hollowing out your soul, providing you with no nourishment, believing they're controlling your perception of reality. And 90% of paedophiles, remember, are homosexuals. And obviously, as I've said, on the male side. And so, in a nutcake, they bring out girl power, which I see as destruction of girls, right? Destroying girls. And if I'm right, and if the moral law of the universe is right, and if you're being unnatural, and you're not living how all your ancestors combined lived, in complement to one another, loving one another, right? Basically, in tandem, the outcome should be absolutely fucking dreadful. You should be throwing your arse out the window, really. And you look at the suicide figures, right? Self-destruction, right? Programmed, Zionist programmed, pathologically ingrained self-destruction, right? The suicide figures they release are fucking astronomical, year on year, exponentially exploding. In the last 10 years, murder from females to males has exploded exponentially as well. Females murdering men right across the board, murdering themselves, right? Men throwing themselves off bridges every single night of the week, and that'll never make the Judean Post. So, self-destruction is now the norm. So they are pathologically ingrained programming of you. Your character isn't your character. It's what they've programmed and ruled rigid into your brain until it's now hardened. You're a hardened self-murderer. Way to go, kids! Hey! And with your whack-a-mole, right? You whack yourself to death, right? Because lacking self-awareness, as St. Bram Stoker showed you, Dracula's full of himself, but he has an Achilles body. He's looking for your Achilles heel. He thinks he can hypnotise you. Yeah. And that's the MO of every psychopath I've ever studied. Very selflessly in the field. Right? They want to keep you in this tube cruel. Yeah. And every single thing is to draw your attention down to a microdot and have you in that microdot glued to a tube coming from a microdot. And that's your pathology. That is all you are. Yeah? They have robbed you of sections of your brain because if your pathology is not ingrained to go there and know there and learn from there and experience from there, or learn coping mechanisms to overcome that, yeah, and to assimilate, right, and patriate appropriately, humanely, morally, and to know about the moral law of the universe as much as you know about gravity. You wouldn't throw yourself out the window. You're throwing yourself out the fucking window, you Dunce-Cunt. There's no need to speak to people like that. That's hurt my bum monkey. You shouldn't have a bum monkey. I don't even know what you're on about. Right, the thing is, right, I'm a living Christ, and I'm saying to you, they've encouraged you to be something that even I find fucking repulsive. I used to find you disgusting, it tormented me, and I went beyond that and burst my disgust mechanism by trying to love to the nth degree, and I did. And I went beyond that, right, and then discovered, alright, they don't deserve that. A very important word, deserve. So not only is this mechanism in your brain, this pathology in your brain, to repulse people offensively as a defence, you're repulsive. What you've become, what you've let yourself become, which is why females are killing themselves in their fucking droves, because they look in the mirror one day and get a lucid flash and think, fuck, I'm repulsive. And it's not just pretending. I have become wrath. I have become a horrible bastard. And I can't get that guy back that I wanted in my youth. And it was my fault. I'm to blame, And she has been addled by the pills she's on for her nerves, because she has to suppress this growing rage, which comes from nobody battering her over the head and taking her into the cave and having his way with her, Every high-functioning psychopathic female I've ever met has said to me they actually must be clubbed over the head or they'll never have sex again, because they want a relationship, they want the guy to be psychic, insightful, and even if he is all those things, she'll still run away from him. And no self-respecting man is going to pursue her, down the sewer to her toilet throne, where she can throw dirty bits of tissue paper at him and run through the halls of Sub-Narnia, pulling down drapes and going, fuck that. That's nauseating narcissism and unhealthy self-love, which is actually self-destruction. And so, when you channel the moral law of the universe straight, I'm living proof, and you can see it tangibly on YouTube, where I predict I'm going to fucking buy a forest, right? About a year and a half or so, maybe less than that. Next time, I own the most beautiful farm in the whole of Lagutrop. And I also predicted Amy Shitehouse's death, right? I predicted it and told you she'd been a dreadful role model, just exactly as I'm saying again. And I've performed miracles. A year ago, I allowed myself to be arrested to expose what I'm going to expose on Erol on the police farce. I'm exposing people right across the board just by simply telling the truth and reflecting reality exactly as it is, with, you know, my alien brain and my evolved brain. You could all have great grandkids, right, who have this ability to have humour as a talent, music as a talent, you know, maybe not my dashing good looks, you know, but you know, they would be able to channel great gifts and then unlock the secrets of the universe and get off for what life's worth, get off away into space and, you know, bounce about, you know, and have a right good time. Instead, you're allowing wank clawed fucking slime to destroy you right now. Right? Nuclear power, right, is killing you, you know, it's been killing you for decades, right? And, you know, the only people who they would let into any kind of office were people who were alright with that, as long as they could pretend to be heroic and get everybody's praise, yeah? Self-destructive imbeciles. And, you know, like Mussolini, you know, right? And, you know, cut to the end of Mussolini's experience, right? His country lost out enormously, right? And he was left hanging upside down, I think it was, in a train station, dead for about 10 days, just hanging there, swinging about, right? Hitler and Stalin, babbling maniacs crawling about at the end of it, and you know, end of their days just jabbering and insane, and you know, and that was that. And you know, their country's reduced to rubble, and set back an enormous amount because of megalomania. Hitler famously ejaculating in public at Nuremberg rallies. That is the most important thing I can tell you about psychopaths. They come without flicking their bean, you know, and you need to study that, you need to see that. And, you know, when I first saw Anthony Hopkins saying, "I ate his liver with a tin of Heinz baked beans and a can of Fanta," right? I thought to myself, oh, that's a really good actor's device. However, check it out. Ted Bundy's pen friend, right? Ted Bundy's pen friend, right, is in a prison cell. You can find him on YouTube, and just watch that fucking lizard prick, man, licking his lips. Right, him and Ted Bundy were writing to one another as Ted idolised him and wanted to kill as many people as him, writing to him in prison. And so, they ejaculate without touching their penis or the vagina, and they're everywhere now. And so the solution, as a living Christ, I give it to you again, fMRI. There's no need to shout. fMRI scans, right? Nobody should be in any decision-making position unless they've been fucking brain scanned. They gravitate towards decision-making fucking positions so they can bend the rules, make token gestures, and then prey on you, that proboscis. Yeah? And try and leave their shit with you. They don't exist in reality, we've covered that. And you must provide them with brutal, merciless physical consequence. Go to where they fucking are, even if it's been 1 day, 10 weeks, 10 fucking years. Go to where that cunt is that deliberately wronged you because they're a sex offender. And that's what all psychopaths are. They're sex offenders who uniformly lie pathologically. They lie so much they think it always bullshits your brain, right? When they, as I've said, have a fucking prawn on a fucking cocktail stick for a brain. And they know it. They are liars. They just lie to themselves all the fucking time. They have to. However, they have that hell-bent wafer-thin corpus callosum sold, right, to help them. Because they've stored all these different ways of going round and round the citadel, looking for ways in to score that point in the hyper-competitive game only they're in.